But we're here today to, of course, talk about Death Trip, which thank you so much for sending over the screener and letting me watch it. I had a really fun time with it, actually. I really enjoyed it. Loved the vibe. It's got a really interesting kind of moody vibe to it, but we're going to get into that a little bit more. So if you guys are good, I'm going to fire some questions your way.
Hit us.
Cool. So you both wrote Death Trip together. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where did your inspiration come from?
Kaylee.
Me. This was quite a while back. I want to say like 2014 or so, or 2015. Like this is all a long time coming.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We were kind of talking about horror movies, and I just had this idea for the ending, like the kind of twist, if you will. I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if, like, I don't know if there's like a spoiler situation going on here or what the best way to approach that is, but wouldn't it be funny if blank 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 happened and like this is the big reveal at the end? And James like, oh, that's really interesting, and then we kind of forgot about it for a little while and then kind of went back to it, and then we just decided we would kind of go for it and try to make a movie, so like with that as kind of like the basis of it.
Do you want to do a spoiler-filled conversation about it?
I think it's fine, right?
Let's do spoilers. I can give a warning.
Okay.
All right. And it's also technically, I don't think it's out in the UK yet. Or,
I mean,
but there's ways.
There are ways.
I shouldn't promote this.
Don't promote that.
Yeah, I know. Wait for a while because it'll be available or get a VPN. The twist was, it's like my favorite thing about Scream. I can talk about Scream way too much now, but it's the thing of like Skeet Ulrich is like obviously villainous. He's like hilariously evil.
Yeah.
And then the movie spends the whole time trying to make you think that it's not him. And I thought that was really funny. And also the thing of like, there's 4 people, 3 women, 1 man from the city. There's like people in the country, and it's just obviously the one guy from this. Like it's very fun to hide that twist.
Yeah, it's like statistically speaking, they say it's like you're more likely to be harmed by someone as women, more likely to be harmed by someone you're acquainted with at the very least, or like an intimate partner or someone you trust. So it's like, obviously it's probably that guy. It's probably not, again, as James has touched upon, like the class elements of it too.
Yeah.
It's not like a random like guy living in the country who literally does not give a shit about what these people are doing. Or he's probably like, oh, these annoying kids, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah, he's got way bigger problems.
Yeah.
And they're horrible, the main character, like the way that they talk about the Megan next door, and the way that they're just blindly scared of this one old guy, and they get in the car with like 3 stranger dudes. And that to me is much more dangerous than this old, maybe like widower, pensioner, who knows, lives next door.
I know, poor guy, right? He's just going about his normal life, making dinner, God knows what. And they're like, he's a psycho killer, which I think it was really representative of, what a lot of horror films do, the tropes that they use. Exactly what you're saying, class. It's always, oh, that person's maybe not as educated, so they're of course the killer. But I loved the twist in the film. I really enjoyed that, and I think actually you don't see it coming. I mean, to an extent, I was like, oh, it has to be someone in the woods. There's something creepy going on. So it was quite surprising when it turned out around like that. But I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. And you mentioned to me that Death Trip kind of fell into the category of mumblecore, which is, I guess it's almost like a very, very niche kind of subgenre by itself. Was that intentional, or did it just happen? And for anyone that's watching that doesn't know what that means, can you explain a little bit more?
Well, in the year 2021, I think people consider mumblecore to be kind of a bad word at this point.
Well, it's like
really
the only genre, like a genre that's hated much more than, like one genre that's critically reviled more than slashers is mumblecore.
Yeah, it's like we combine the worst of the worst to a lot of people, which is very funny. Yeah, and mumblecore exists. I don't know, how would you technically define it? It's like to be dismissive of it, it's like a bunch of young people just talking.
Well, it's like there's like
You know what I mean?
2000s movies is a big thing. They're like DV kind of 2000 movies, but it's like usually like 20 somethings with their problems, and they're usually really privileged problems.
Yeah.
So it's like even if the movie isn't aware of it, they end up being very accurate. Like I don't know what the word I'm trying to say.
Like a portrait of their, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
say takedown. I'm trying to find a better.
Yeah, it's like you're roasting yourself a little bit, like a tiny furniture. Although I remember that being very good. I haven't seen it in a long time. But something like that of just like, yeah, a lot of young people where the focus of the film is usually about interpersonal relationships and kind of small, what you would call like first world problems or privileged person problems. You know what I mean? Like, why won't they stop talking?
Like,
so a lot of people find them pretty like meaningless. I think, but I really find them comforting and enjoyable to watch.
Like a big conflict is usually like, I've been out of university as long as I was in university at this point. What does that mean? That's like a whole, that would be like a whole movie.
I don't care, but you know, I care. It's fun. I mean, it's just like kind of a small human moments, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there's the mumble gore subgenre where it's kind of applying that to a horror framework a little bit more, which is kind of what we were going for. I think we watched Baghead at some point early on when we were talking about this movie. We're like, we could probably make that sounds so like
no, the plot of Baghead is people being like, we could make a movie. We have a cabin, let's do it.
And we literally did that. So
I love that.
Influenced us.
But I like House of the Devil, I feel like is a close. That's like technically a mumblecore movie that has a kind of structure of just like comical, intense dread for like a whole movie, and then everything goes down in the last like 15 minutes, and you're like, what? And then it ends.
Yeah, so that's very similar to the structure of Death Trip. But in terms of it being intentionally mumblecore, we knew we wanted to take an approach to dialogue that was more like naturalistic, which I mean we think ended up working out pretty well. Instead of just like writing and forcing people to say these, I mean, horrible, whatever, just cliched lines, I would assume. I mean, I enjoy writing dialogue, but realistically speaking, when you let people kind of put their spin on it, I think it turns out a lot better. And in terms of like developing the characters and stuff, we just established the relationship between everybody. We're like, okay, and they're like general rule, like this is kind of like the hero, this is the villain, this is the stoner-ish character, and this is like the fake out protagonist. And how they knew each other, and then from there we cast everybody and kind of got together and did rehearsals, and everyone kind of built their own characters based on that. And we pulled pieces of dialogue from the rehearsals and we kind of assembled a script as we were going. So it's not improv so much in the moment of shooting, but the whole process was like based on improv, I guess.
And I mean, I personally, I really like that approach. And I think it works really well for the film. As I said to you, you know, I like that kind of mumblecore. I think it's a lot more personal in a way. Like, you know, you get to get a sense of like who people are. And I mean, I can see why some people might go, oh, it's a bit boring, like watching people have a conversation. But I'm super nosy. I like looking in people's like windows as I'm walking down the street. So to me, I'm like, oh, what are they talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I think as well, something in Death Trip that worked really well is that, you know, going with kind of like a free flowing feel to it. To me, it came across as that the characters were a bit more realistic. They didn't feel like they had been given too much direction. And you said there a bit about it being, you know, also a bit of improvisation. So how much of it was kind of the actors building out their own characters versus you guys saying we need them to do and say these things?
Well, when we wrote the full, like, I guess, scriptment or long outline or whatever you call it, the characters' names were, at that point, it was just like Ross, Rachel, Phoebe, and Monica. Like, it was just like, we just like put stock names because we knew that they were going to use their own names because we're both insecure, I think, and I am at least. Whenever I create and like write a name, I'm just like, it sounds like a fake name. I don't.
Yeah, I'm like Sarah.
So if people use their real names, I'm like, it can't be fake because it's their name.
Yeah.
And the movie lines were there, but for the most part, it was just outlines, and we rehearsed for like 3 months, and I would just like type everything that everyone was saying, and then Kelly and I would pick the best from that, and then we would assemble a script that's almost like point form from the like best of those notes. So when we shot it, it was almost no improv. Like everyone was just like locked in, ready to go. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And also, no one's really actors other than Kelly and
maybe,
Garrett
like,
had done a few
questionable.
things. No, you
Well,
were amazing.
know,
Kelly did an amazing job.
It has been a while. I mean, like, in terms of my acting experience, it's not like I'm not like an actor, but and it had been a while since I had done anything. But yeah, it's mostly people pulled from the like Montreal English speaking comedy scene, which is really funny.
Pretty specific.
Yeah.
Very specific. Yeah, and just people who had kind of experience with, on stage improv more than anything, or stand up, and that was kind of it. And especially even the people like at the party and stuff, it's all people who are kind of part of the Montreal Anglo arts scene.
It was really the thing of like, oh, this like no, I really, what am I trying to say? Everyone sounds better when they're saying line. Everyone, except if you're like not Meryl Streep. It's like if you say lines your own way, it'll always sound realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've done this. It sounded like I was ragging on Meryl Streep. I meant like she's amazing. She read the phone book and it sound natural. I'm sure. I'm trying to think of a very famous actor. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
she is one.
she is very a famous actor. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. It was the easiest way to make these non-professional, and everyone just that's the one thing I'm like objectively proud of. I can't really defend anything else in the movie other than just like we like it. Like when everyone says there's a lot of talking, it's kind of just a thing of being like, yeah, I don't know, I love movies like that. And I know that that's a thing. People hate shows and movies where people scream, like talk over each other constantly, and it's like to me the most relaxing thing because it's just like you can choose who you want to listen to. But I am proud of the acting. I think everyone's amazing in it.
And we did have a few, obviously, like on our original outline, like the beats we had to hit, and maybe a couple of kind of key lines, but yeah, by and large, it was built kind of like communally, I guess, which is nice.
Garrett's the only one for sure we picked because of his face. He just has like that Jonah Hill stare. Where you're just like, Jesus Christ.
That's who he reminded me of, the Jonah Hill stare. Yeah. Now that you've said it, because actually when I watched it, I was like, have I seen Garrett in something? I was like, I really feel like it. Yeah. And then I was looking him up and I was like, I've not seen him anywhere. And I was like, so I'm confused. Now you've said it. Yeah, it's the Jonah Hill stare.
So, like I would have never also made that connection until you said it once.
We're just looking in the camera once. Spencer and I were like, Jesus Christ. Because it's the funniest thing about Jonah Hill. It's like, even in performances that he's not, whatever, he has that like the most hilariously just menacing stare. You're like, oh my God, why is he looking at that person that way? And Garrett, we knew at the end, it was like a really, to me, a funny thing that I love and find really funny in genre movies. And it was like one part of the movie where we were like trying to get super like hyper stylized is the like switch to villain.
Yeah.
And so the thing where he's like, yes, or whatever, we like love so much because he has that face.
Yeah, it's like the moment where like this is the most unrealistic, like ridiculous moment, but it's like the super villain. Yeah, it's so funny. I laugh every time. And it's like, I think he did a really great job. And he has this crazy scream as well, which I don't know if you noticed in the movie a couple of times. He lets out a truly
there's a moment
horrifying.
There's a moment where Tatiana grabs his I was about to say private parts. I don't know why am I like private.
Yes.
Grabs his balls. I don't know. Now I sound like I'm trying to be whatever. We found out last night that we have the honor of being added to the BB database, which is the ball busting database, which we did not know existed. That just lists movies in which a female protagonist hurts a man's genitals in some way.
Something like that. Amazing news for us.
But he makes a scream during that moment that we were all laughing, and he was like, "What's funny about that?" And we're just like, "This scream is so crazy, Garrett. It's like a." It sounded like I think it's called the Wilhelm scream, the like famous one you hear movies. It's like ah, whatever.
I do remember the screen and the ball grabbing bit, which I need to look up that database. That sounds incredible.
I had no idea it existed until this happened.
I texted Kelly. I was like outside. I texted her last night, being like, "Oh my God, we've made it. Look at this website."
I know, and then I followed it up with like Death Trip Wiki Feet. I'm like, there must be a Wiki Feet, and then I was like, oh, no Wiki Feet. That's my obsession.
I love that, and it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun on the shoot. It sounds like it was pretty, pretty fun time. How long was the shoot? What was the shooting like?
It's definitely, we did it in little segments.
Say 5 weekends. I should know this by now. People have asked me this.
Yeah, 5 or 6 weekends. I think. Like we started in February. I think I want to say like the coldest. Like it was really fun, but very, very, very cold for the most part, especially all the outdoor stuff. If it's not actively very like snowing or very snowy, that means it's even colder, which
Yeah.
is a lot.
Horrible.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
we were
really
like, we're gonna do it in
intense.
February, and it's gonna be, if you could see outside, it is like a winter wonderland in Canada right now. It's ridiculous. We really wanted it to be like that, like so much snow everywhere.
Mhm.
And there
Yeah.
just wasn't a lot, but it was miserably cold. And the good thing is you could see the people's breaths,
Mhm.
like their cold breath, which is very hard to fake in movies.
Yeah. But yeah, we started, I want to say, in February, and then did a couple of weekends into like March maybe, and then we took a bit of a break, and then we filmed a party scene, I want to say in like September or something, in Montreal, because
Yeah.
it was easier to get all of our extras and kind of control it. So yeah, probably in total, what, yeah, five
I
or
would
six
say
weekends.
all the cottage stuff is 3 weekends,
Mm-hmm.
3 like 3-day weekends or 2-day weekends, and then everything outside of the cottage stuff was done in 1 or 2 weekends. I don't even remember anymore. My memory is
I
so.
know.
It was not like it was the funnest shoot ever, but it was also like so psychotic. Like we were both. We definitely went into it being like, we could do this,
Yeah.
and did not schedule it in any sort of responsible way. We were just like, well, we'll just, if we need to get it done, we'll get it done. Like that party, we
Oh,
were like,
yeah.
we're gonna do it in one night, which is so
Mhm.
stupid. And then it was like we split up the characters, and I kept being like, why did we do this? Now I have to film like 4 different party scenes. I have to make sure people are in the same background as the other stuff. The timeline doesn't match, and it was so psychotic. Like we shouldn't have finished it. We finished it like 4 a.m. or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Wow.
was an example of just like youthful ambition.
Yeah.
We did not plan it well, but
Yeah.
we finished it. That's all that I guess that matters. Not that that's not true. Everyone did have fun, but we were very
There
tired.
was a lot of napping because we'd shoot from like, I want to say 5:30 or something, because you only have so much light, obviously, in the winter too.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think we'd shoot from like 5:30 to like 2 in the morning or something crazy. So people just like alternate naps, except for you and
Yeah.
Spencer, who
Well,
shot the movie.
It was stupid because we thought like, because I was really like excited about the idea of like bright daylight horror movie. Like this will be
Mhm.
so fun. You shoot it in the winter. It's like we don't need to bring any lights because snow's everywhere, so light will bounce everywhere.
Yeah.
I love bright horror movies. You don't see like tons of them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Midsummer was the last really big one that was
Yeah.
just like full daylight the whole time.
Which is it.
But yeah, but then we realized, oh yeah, the winter it like ends at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So we were
So it's rough. But James's parents were there.
Yeah,
His
they're
mom
in the
was
movie.
like making us food, which was
Oh,
like
that's
amazing. It was,
lovely.
like, very cute. We had a cottage next door that we rented out, and his mom was like making food, and everyone would go there and like sleep, and it was very cute. It was very cute, I gotta say.
Oh, bless her. Well, it
I
does
know,
sound,
right?
yeah, it sounds tiring. I mean, getting it all done. I mean, obviously, I'm not a filmmaker either, so, and I don't think I would ever try to go down that route, because it does sound, everyone I've ever spoken to, it's like, yeah, tiring, lots of tiring things, but
Mhm.
like you said, you know, you got it done, and it's yeah, it's a fantastic film. And one of the other things I really liked about the film is the score, the sound. It's I think it's got a really distinct sound, and I thought it really helped with the pacing of the film. You know, it kind of, I don't know, it had almost like a drum beat throughout the whole of the film, which I really liked. When you guys were making it, did you have a specific sound in mind, or did you just give it to the guys and they went away and they created it for you?
Well, we had a couple, I think originally, I mean, one of the big, this isn't score, but in terms of like music inspirations, like Vainheim, who does kind of like the synthy, high voice music we use a couple of times throughout the film. I think their music was kind of like a starting point for us in terms of like visualizing how this would all go down.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they make incredible music. Check them out on Bandcamp and buy their music. But then from there, I guess we enlisted the help of a couple of friends, one who's more experienced in like classical stuff, Eston Vidal, who I guess is the like you know, would
He's
be the
he's
main
credited as
main score guy.
Yeah.
And then we also enlisted the help of like kind of a noise guy that we knew called Ryan Martin, who does Secret Boyfriend. I guess that's how he's credited on the movie, who lives in North Carolina. And so we kind of got those two pieces of music, or those two strains of whatever, like the noise stuff and the more kind of classical stuff, and mashed them together. And then James also added an element of kind of noisy synth stuff throughout too.
Well, it was because they both people who we really wanted to do the score, because you know we like wanted a noise score that was just like especially when the morning they find Kelly, we knew that we wanted to do the thing of like what's you just talked about in your show, Irreversible, the first scene where Vincent Gallo's like in the Rectum Club or whatever, not Vincent Gallo, Vincent Cassel. He's in the Rectum Club, and they're just like the most like music. And he's like, oh god. For specifically when we found Kelly, that was like, we want that to just be like the most aggressive sequence of just like screaming for so long with just like screeching noise music. And so we asked this guy to do the noise score, and he gave us a couple tracks, and then Eston, we really wanted like I was like really pushing for like a motif, like in like an Alfred Hitchcock movie or something, where it's like there's like one string motif that comes up throughout the movie that I just thought would be like a fun classic thriller thing to do. And he gave us 2 pieces of music. Both of them didn't really finish the scores. And then just gave them to us, and we were like, okay, shit. And it was the funnest thing because we had all of the project files for the score, so I was able to like pitch shift strings and stuff, and just we like Frankenstein a score out of their 2 music, and it ended up sounding really cool. We were very surprised by it.
Also, both dear friends. I was like, a guy called Ryan Martin. Like, he's a friend.
Secret boyfriend, North Carolina.
Yeah, we really leaned on a bunch of dear friends to help us out with this, which we couldn't have done this without them, honestly, and their like patience and doing things for free. That was huge.
Yeah, because you guys made this on and I mean, for the cinematography, for everything you've done, it's incredible that you made this on like a micro budget, because I've seen, I know you guys like extreme as well. I've seen some micro budget films and I've gone, well, you can tell. No offense to them, but you kind of go, maybe you shouldn't have. Maybe you should have just invested that in something else. Did you guys find that there were many challenges with working with a small budget?
Like,
I mean, it's weird because I don't think, I mean, the other thing, because all of the people who did it for no money, and we all just did it like as a
we're like, we'll all own the movie together. It's like that kind of vibe where like, we really can't offer you like just upfront, like we can't offer you money right away, but if something happens with this movie, like we'll all split it, kind of thing.
I guess the only thing that would have made it easier if we had like a huge crew, which we weren't gonna. There's like a certain amount of goodwill you can like get out of people, and you feel bad, like especially just like you feel bad, just like cockamamie scheme where you're like dragging everyone in the woods, and you're like, listen, it'll be amazing, and you don't even know if the movie's gonna be any good,
if anything will happen to it at all.
So as it stands now, it is kind of held together with like masking tape. It's like very, like they're just shots that we couldn't get because of timing or all these things that we just had to go one way with it. I guess the answer is like, obviously it would be easy with money, but we don't even know what that would be like, so we don't have anything.
And if you don't have a community of like creative people who are willing to just do things for fun, that could also set you back. But we were like lucky enough to be in, again, this very specific like little arts community where people are like, yeah, let's do it, why not, yeah, cool. We're like, okay, well, we'll feed you, and we'll have a place to stay and everything, but aside from that, or like, I mean, for the parties, we're like, there will be beer, come on down,
free beer, come on.
Works,
what else do you need?
Exactly.
This is what we were saying.
We're like, it's just basically a party where we'll tell you to shut up sometimes, and there will be beer. And that worked out, thankfully.
Honestly, if someone said to me, there's a party where I might tell you to be quiet, but you get free beer, I'd be like, I'm doing it. I don't care what I need to do. Like, tell me to be quiet. I'll just drink another beer while I'm being quiet.
In the background.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's a fun novelty for people too, who, didn't have to commit to the entire project. They're like, yeah, I'll be in a movie. Sounds great. It's like, it's fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it's nice. And I think actually, as much as I'm sure, it would have been fantastic to have a huge budget, I think sometimes having a smaller budget and, like you said, having a group of creators who want to get involved with the project, it comes through in the fact that there's passion there. It's not just this is a paid job, it's actually this is something I want to do, which often makes, everything kind of stronger. And I mean, so for me, the film is, you guys have said this, it's a lot about kind of like those personal connections. We do get to see a lot of dialogue. I think, I really liked the characters. Maybe not so, when we find out what we find out, but generally I really liked everyone. But for me, the film was quite a lot about, I guess, like the monstrosity of humans. I guess without giving too much away, I know we've kind of done spoilers, so it's probably all right. Do you think there's any particular takeaways from that you think the audience would get from the film?
It's been mixed so far. Some people are like, I don't get it. And other people like, what's the point of any of this?
Yeah.
But some people are catching on, or just like fully like, of course it's about this and that. Like, yes, thank God. But the whole thing we were going with was just like women's worst enemies are right under their noses kind of thing, as opposed to like the, we find ourselves being, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, I'm sure. I mean, everyone has a different experience, obviously. But
Yeah.
like, I find myself obsessing about like someone breaking into my house and murdering me, or, just like those kinds of things. You kind of spin out on that stuff. So that makes you really like cautious in the world in a very specific way. And
Yeah.
it is very like limiting. But like, I'm not trying to throw
It
you under the bus.
could
It's
be
like
me.
it's
I
more
would
likely
be-
to be James.
I'm
you
gonna
know
probably kill
what
her
I
before
mean?
someone else.
It's like that's just the kind of the way it is. And in terms of like the character dynamics of this movie, it's like two people, myself and Melina, who have been friends with this guy since high school, and we kind of have a certain perception of him, and we trust him for whatever reason. Again, this is super spoilery, so sorry, but
We're in it.
we just
Let's go.
we're in it. So because we've decided we trust this person, we're like, yes, he's a good guy, and that is amplified by his like signifiers. Like he's wearing this like Yoko Ono shirt, and he's really like, I
He's
don't
the
think
Bernie
women,
sticker.
the Bernie sticker, and like, I don't think women are objects, blah blah blah, during that exchange with Tatiana.
Yeah.
And then, but he does do a couple of things throughout where you're like, oh, that's kind of like weird, like that's weirdly aggressive. What's going on? And we are more likely to ignore those red flags because we've decided this person is good, he's okay, based on either like familiarity or aesthetics. And there's it's not always the way it goes. There's often something, or there can be something very like sinister lingering underneath. And again, it's not like about Me Too, it's not about Donald Trump, but I think that it kind of reflects or like encapsulates a feeling a lot of women and men both had during Me Too of like, oh my God, that guy, like it was all these people were outed kind of as monsters in a sense.
Yeah.
And it was really scary and really stressful, and it's the people you least expected. So I feel like towards the end of the movie, it kind of has that vibe a little bit. I've been thinking about this. I don't know how you feel.
No.
You know what I mean? It's
Well, because the vibe is like they've been monsters. I don't know where you've been.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's exactly like that. It's just always lingering under the surface, and you're really willing to turn a blind eye to a lot of red flags if you, I don't know, so choose, I guess, or if you just have this inherent trust in someone for no real reason.
And that's why Tat is the only one who really see it towards the end. Like there's the moment where she's like, he just kissed me. And she's like, he kissed you? Where is he now? And she's like, I don't know. Like everyone's going through a lot. And it's a thing of being like, she's the newest friend. So she's obviously like, that's weird. We need to figure this out right now.
And then Melina's still like, it's not like, it's this other guy.
Yeah.
You're like, why can't you see that this person is obviously a psycho?
He is. People were criticizing. There were some people who were like, why would they make tea? And we're like, exactly. Why did he make tea? He's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. And like, he's like, I will call the ambulance, or I'll call a tag or whatever. And they're like, yeah, do it. And they just trust him to do it. But obviously he just didn't do it. Stuff like that. There's always like little things that I think we wanted to work into kind of, maybe it's like upon second watch, you can kind of see those little things where you're like, oh yeah, shouldn't have trusted this guy to do those things.
Well, yeah. The party sequence is the longest red flag and the longest justification scene like ever, which is basically like it exists to distract you again from Garrett, but also to like be the spark that lights Garrett, like as a character in general, like the one like that he sees Kelly having what he perceives to be like a meaningless hookup. And he's just like, after she hooked up with me, how dare she?
Yeah, after he's like felt entitled to me, where I'm just like,
nope,
no, that's not how this works. And then that kind of sets him off, and so spoilers.
He thinks he's Charlie in Charlie's Angels, but he is really Bosley. That's the takeaway from the movie. He thinks he owns them.
Yeah,
he is really one of the gang and should.
Yeah.
No,
step in line.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that messaging is really clear in the film, and like you said, it usually is the person that we live in a house with that is the murderer. So,
What the
but it could be Kelly. You never know.
Yeah, true.
Could be me with
my
partner.
Exactly.
You never know.
That's the thing. It's like
you know.
women are just as capable. If
Well,
feminism
yes,
has
we
taught
are.
us anything, it's like I'm just as angry as you, and I could kill you.
Well, the movie that
I don't
we
know about how Japan, right?
the movie that we love
Whatever.
that everyone universally hates is Hostel Part 2. And it's mostly because I don't know if you've seen that movie or remember it.
I love that movie as well.
Yes, but it's the plot line of the two like Bush era like jacked up dudes throughout the movie being like, "Oh, I'm bidding on this girl. We are gonna get it. We're gonna get so crazy, man." And then it just like the one guy is just so jacked up, and the other guy is very shy. And then when they get to the torture sequence, the jacked up guy's like, "I don't know if I can do this," and the shy guy's like, "You look like my wife, and I can't murder my wife."
Yeah.
He's like fully evil. And then of course, you know, that's a great BB movie. There's a full
Oh, I was like, what's
ball
right.
busting David.
True.
There's a full just the word. Oh my god, my brain. This is like Saturday at noon for us. That's why. When you cut off the penis, what's it called?
No,
Castration.
yeah.
There's a full castration scene in that movie, and she feeds it to the dog. Amazing, hilarious.
We love that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the director of Cannibal Holocaust, from the poster behind you, is in that movie eating a body at one point. I don't know if you know that. It's a fun little
I didn't know
cameo.
him. Oh,
He's very calmly with a fork and knife. They just like see the rooms at one point, and there's like an old Italian
Is
man.
it?
It's like,
that's amazing. I need to rewatch it now to find that bit.
So good.
And last question for you guys. What, if anything, what do you have on the cards that you can maybe talk about? Do you have any plans for anything? Because I'm certainly looking forward to anything else that you might be working on.
We're working on, I don't know what we can talk about.
Well,
or
okay.
like you can just say.
Well, when you asked about the budget, the one thing I will say, the one thing that we wish we had budget for is just gore, because we had to be really inventive with it, and we couldn't do a ton of it and be sparing.
Nesquik and Nesquik.
Nesquik and Nesquik. So I think the next one we really there's a scene in Death Trip where it's like Tatiana gets cornered by like a woman at a party, and it's like she's like kind of in the corner, she's like peeling off her skin on her arm and stuff.
Yes.
We kind of want to make like a movie that is just that vibe for like an hour and a half. That's just super gory and has our Sallow moment where we have like one scene that people are like, "No!"
Yeah.
Just like,
but, that's the dream.
You know, I'll be number one in queue for that.
We like love that shit, and you just need a little bit more money to do it. So
and not much. Not much money, seriously, if anyone's listening. No, our distributor we worked with for this one, the Kamikaze Dogfight, has been really great and super, just like lets us do what we want. And so we would love to, just a lot of trust in us. So we would love to do another one. Then we have basically two that we want to do. And one is like full big budget body horror. And then one is like Persona mixed with, I guess, like Britney Spears and gore, I guess, right? That's like a good.
Yeah.
Britney Spears and gore. I mean, I was a huge Britney fan. So yeah, please sign me up. Let me know more privately.
For sure. We're very excited. Got a lot of things brewing.
That sounds awesome. And you know, I'm sure based on Death Trip alone, they're both of those projects are going to be fantastic. And I look forward to the Salo moment, because you know that's that will be something. You've got to come up with something that's even more shocking than you know, eating poo, which is it's quite hard to do, but I reckon I believe in you guys.
We had I've never been to a screening of that movie, and I've always wanted to, because I hear at every one there's at least one person who like loudly, unless it's like a retrospective, but like loudly storms out and just like, "This is bullshit."
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to. I feel like that's a really funny.
When theaters are open again.
Theaters are open again.
Yes.
We'll be able to.
We're praying, aren't we?
Really.
Oh my god, I know. I'm excited to hear. I mean, it's so funny because all I want to do is ask you what other movies you're going to talk about on your podcast, but I won't. I know it's a spoiler alert.
Just keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out.
Well,
I want you to do Angst. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but
I have seen Angst. Well, maybe because I am. I've done a bit of a backlog. I've got about 10 episodes that need editing for season 3. But maybe I can get you guys to come on and join me to talk about a film. Maybe it could be.
So
maybe we can talk about Angst and something else. One of your favorites, Kelly. That would be fun. I'm always excited to talk extreme with other people because it's hard to find other people that actually like the subgenre. They're like, you what? You watch a Serbian film in your spare time and you like it? It's like,
No.
yeah.
It's very cathartic. I don't know. It's like just taking it to the next extreme of
This is
catharsis.
like human
I don't know.
emotion. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like romance, sex, violence, gore. It's like a very exciting. I don't know. I feel like it's judged too strongly.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I agree. I
I'm
agree.
thankful I can watch some with you.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna watch it with. Okay. Sorry.
You're both edgelords.
But nice.
Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been awesome to connect. And I'm going to let you get to your baby shower, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Virtual
spoiler.
baby
Is it when
shower.
is it? Is that one?
It's coming up. It's at 1:30.
It's at 1:30.
Let
Okay,
me
we're
check.
good. We're good.
You
I
got
had
a bit of
to- I had to
time.
learn how to keep score for like a baby shower game. This is like I wasn't invited to the baby shower, but I'm
The
dropping
scorekeeper.
in. This is a baby shower Zoom bombing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. This is too much information.
Yeah.
Go to deathtripmovie.com to find out where. If you're in the UK or anywhere that isn't North America, you could use a VPN. It's a legal, I don't know, a gray area, but it is a financially nice way to watch the movie.
Or there may be a easier way soon.
Yeah, I think we're getting distribution for the UK. We just don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But soon. It'll be out
As-
there.
As soon as it does, I'll make sure I share the news, and of course when I get this published, I'll make sure that I've got links to your website and also your social media, so everyone can go and give you a follow. And when they can watch it in the UK, they can, but obviously anyone in the US, they can give it a watch. So yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you. And
Thank you.
congratulations on the new site.
Thank you so much. And I will speak to you both hopefully very soon. We'll keep in touch.
Amazing. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.